Welcome to the first podcast for twirlers by twirlers. In an effort to promote and popularize baton twirling around the world, we bring you behind the curtain with us to see how baton twirling has helped change lives. Thank you for supporting us in our mission by listening to the Baton Twirling Podcast. Today I'm speaking with Tammy with Stepperettes. She is a daughter of Sue. You are not going to want to miss this episode. It is so amazing. You get to hear about this great organization. They've done so much for baton twirling, and I know they're one of the largest groups in America. So stay tuned, and here's Tammy. First, okay, I am so excited that I get to talk to you, and I want you to tell everyone who you are, who you're with, and what you currently do in the baton twirling world.
Okay, hello. My name is Tammy Cool. My maiden name is Follinger, so I'm Tammy Follinger Cool. And I have been teaching and coaching twirlers full-time for the past 15 years, but I've been coaching for about 20 years. And of course, twirled many, many years prior to that at all levels. So I have a varied experience when it comes to my years as an athlete, and then now on the other side of it, coaching students of all ages. I am from Omaha, Nebraska, and I am the co-director of Stepperettes, which is our team. We've been a team. My mom started the team 46 years ago, and so in that time, it's just been a labor of love. It's been a family business, and it's just something that's grown into something we're really quite proud of.
Yeah, I have to tell everyone, I used to be a Stepperette back in the 90s, and we were Stepperettes until we moved to Texas. So I can absolutely attest to the fact that these Stepperettes were and still are like a family. If you know someone who's a Stepperette and you meet them later, you're immediately like, oh, sorry, we're already bonded for life and we're best friends now. So,
and that's been one of our goals all along. I think that's one of the things that most of our students really enjoy, and that's that friendship, that family feeling, all these shared experiences when they are a member of the Stepperettes, and that's what we're really excited about, is providing those experiences for these kids.
Wow. So I know that you guys have a large team. How many people do you currently have in your group in total?
Yes, that is a really good question. So our studio, we just opened a brand new facility. It's about a year old, dedicated solely to baton twirling. We do offer a few other classes to enhance twirling, enhance skills for twirlers. But right now, we teach approximately 420 to 430 baton twirlers. We do have a few different levels. We have a recreational program. Then we have what we call pre-competition team, and they just do a little bit more, and they compete locally in more of a rating type setting. Then we have a competition team that we take to a regional competition, not a few hours away, and then we have our national team, which does have about 150 members, and Wow. They do go to AYOP held at Notre Dame University each year.
Okay, my mouth just dropped when you said over 400 because I'm like excited when I have about 20 people on my team, and that's like hugely exciting to me. Like usually we're around like 10 or so. So I know that you guys have been around for a while, 46 years. That's quite a bit longer than I've been doing it. But how would you say you've grown your team, and what advice would you give to people who are looking to do this either full-time or just grow their team in general? Maybe not to 400, but even to 50 or something where they can be sustainable.
That's a really great question. I feel like, my mom started when she was 15 years old, and she had 5 students in a parade. It was the 4th of July parade here in town. And she didn't think she was going to do this full time. She's like, I'm going to be a nurse. And she went to nursing school. Well, lo and behold, my twin sister and I were born, and we were 9 weeks premature. Oh, wow. And my mom had no idea how she could be a full-time nurse and try to take care of her new, family and these little babies. And we were twins. We were, giving her all kinds of trouble. So she worked it out with my dad that she was going to teach baton lessons at night so that she could be home with her kids as they were growing up. So it started very, very small. And we started in community centers, like in schools. We didn't have a studio by any means for many, many years after we started. And so I think it's important to understand that none of this happens overnight. It's something that you have to really work towards. And my entire family, of course, has been working toward this goal of growing a studio. And so we started quite small. And then over the years, as it's grown and grown, I think, some of the things that have helped is just really getting out in the community, doing 5, 6, or 7 parades a year.
Mm-hmm.
And we do a lot of parades. We do performances at local sporting events. We do things like the Harlem Globetrotters or halftimes or the zoo. But I do think that one thing that does happen is people will start a studio or a program, and they want to jump into their own rental or their own gym. And we didn't do that until we had about 150 students. Because there was really no way to sustain your rent. You can't pay your rent unless you have enough students to, back it up, and you don't want to be charging kids a lot of money. And that's the other thing. We've always kept our rates pretty low. Our monthly, tuition is considerably lower than what kids are paying around here for gymnastics or dance. So that's another thing. We kind of keep it affordable for families, and that has helped, I do think, in the growth of our program.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to competition with other sports, so I know that baton twirling isn't the most popular thing, especially in other parts of the United States. So obviously you guys probably have some competition with gymnasts or dance teams.
Yes.
How do you kind of come up against that? Do you do advertising? Do you...
Yes, that's a really good question. We don't advertise really at all, other than the world has changed with social media advertising because, I have a degree in marketing, but I feel like that degree I got in college is pretty much obsolete because things have changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't advertise like it very much, other than we do, post a few things on social media, Facebook ads, things of that nature. But really, I think what we found is the families that are posting pictures on their own social media pages of just the activities that the girls are doing is really, bringing people in the door like crazy. I mean, we went to Ireland last year for St. Patrick's Day, and people posted a bunch of pictures, and all of a sudden their neighbors are like, well, how do we get to do things like that? So I think it's been a whole new world as far as just having people post their own photos, and of course not at our direction whatsoever, more so just them, showing their trips and their experiences, and then that's just bringing kids in the door, and that really, really helps when it comes to competing with the other studios and programs in our local area.
That reminds me, another thing that I was so sad that we had moved by this point, but you guys were in the Macy's Day Parade.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness. I have a little student and her name is Macy, and they literally named her that after we did that parade, which is so funny. I mean, because she wasn't even a student. She was just born, and we were doing this parade, and they saw it on TV, and they thought it was so neat. And they named their daughter Macy like the next month, and she's darling. She's like 10 now. But anyway, yes, those are the kinds of things that really sets our team apart from a lot of different activities, a lot of different teams, and that was a huge honor being in that parade. I wish you would have still been in Omaha at that time. Oh my gosh. And as embarrassing as this may sound, I came out of retirement. I had already had my son, and I'm like, I'm doing it. That was the last costume I ever wore. I'm like, I marched in that parade.
I would do the same thing.
I was really old, but I didn't care. I'm like, I'm doing it because I thought it was and it was so much fun. I mean, that was a once in a lifetime, experience. So yeah, and I know people that are starting a studio look at that and think, how will I get to that? Well, you can, but it's going to take a lot of support from your family, and your spouse. If you're married and, like my dad, he's always worked in insurance and still does. He's not, people assume he's a full-time Mr. Stepperette, which is his nickname. But my dad has supported, oh my gosh, my mom all these years and worked full-time in his insurance job, just to help with, of course, the 5 of us growing up, it was a lot. And he was Mr. Mom, but you have to have that support. And so even to this day, he comes after work and is the janitor at our building, even though it's, all these hours. My grandma, she's 80. She works in our store every night. My aunt helps clean in the afternoons. My mom and I and my little sister, are teaching classes. So I know it looks like how do we do this? How do we grow? You're going to need support from your family, but even if you don't have that, you can still do it, just by getting out there and getting in the public as much as possible. I know that's what my mom did right all those years ago, and we continue to do is get out in the public nonstop. I mean, every month we have something, so it really is important. And I know there's a lot of teachers out there thinking, well, I have a team in the Macy's parade. I mean, I never would have thought that, but I really, it just, one thing always leads to another. Somebody sees you, at a performance and they ask you to do something else, and then someone sees you at that, and there's just been a lot of crazy things that have come, just from people seeing us out in the public, and, it's been a wild ride for sure. And yeah, definitely. So that's kind of one of the things I think that we've really worked for is just getting out, and we continue to. You just don't stop. Yeah, we have 430 students, but we don't stop. We just have to keep pushing forward. So it's a lot of fun, though.
One of the things that somebody listening to this might think, well, that's great that they go, but I can't afford to go to Ireland, or I can't afford to go to New York City. What types of things do you guys do to help make that more affordable?
That is so true. We really try to offer so many fundraisers for our families, and it's really important because, I mean, my own family, myself, my husband, we could never do these things if we didn't fundraise, and I totally understand, especially as a mom now, how expensive things are. So I know people looking from the outside might think, my goodness, how are they able to do this? Well, we have garage sales, we sell cookie dough, we sell, yearly we sell candy bars, we do lock-ins, and so we do fundraise a lot, and that's something we've been doing for many years. Our first overseas trip was Russia in 1990.
Oh wow!
When I was 10, I don't want to. Okay, so now everyone knows how old I am. But when we went to Russia in 1990, it wasn't for a competition. It was just a cultural exchange. I mean, we started fundraising at that point, and we've never stopped. And it is a bookkeeping nightmare, just keeping track of everybody. But very necessary, because these kids, these families, you can't just drop money like this without having some help. So we do fundraise a lot.
What has been, two questions. What has been your best fundraiser, which has made the most money, and what has been the most fun fundraiser?
The best fundraiser, I would say we do sell a lot of Christmas. I know it sounds like not a lot of money, but we sell Christmas wreaths. Like the wreaths are an easy fundraiser because, you buy the wreath for a price, you get a certain amount per wreath sold. They come, you get them out, and people around the holidays are kind of, looking for something fun to buy. I guess fundraising, most fun, we did have like a twirl-a-thon that we twirled 24 hours straight at our studio, and people got pledges for that. And I think that was pretty successful. That was right at the Macy's parade time.
Oh, okay.
So the kids got pledges. We twirled. I thought it was going to be fun, but at 2:30 a.m. it wasn't as fun. But the kids still talk about it. They're like, that was so fun. And I'm like, was it? But, it really was. So like a twirl-a-thon, the wreaths. We do sell, I don't know if you're familiar with butter braids. They're like pastry. People love those dang butter braids.
They are so good. My sister's team sells them.
You pull those out for like a holiday brunch or something, and you're good to go. So we do sell butter braids. We've tried sponsorship type opportunities, but it is hard. It's hard. We did something a long time ago. We do have a nonprofit portion of our group, which is confusing to some people. We are the Stepperettes, and that is our for-profit business, but we also have something called Traveling Twirlers. And I know my dad worked many, many tireless hours to get that nonprofit status approved. So that, it helps when people want to donate for tax reasons.
Yeah.
So that really did help. That's a huge part of when we travel overseas, the Traveling Twirlers portion. That fundraising piece does really help. And I can't sit here and tell you all the ins and outs. I know, there's just a lot to go through when you're trying to get that designation, so.
Yeah, I looked into it, and there's a ton of paperwork,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I figured once
Paperwork
I
and red
start
tape.
doing this
Yeah.
more, I might I might go back into that, but I don't know.
I know, and it can be done, but you have to follow a lot of rules, which
Yeah.
we're very careful about doing. And my dad's been in the insurance and law type business for all of his career, and so he understands to be very dot all your I's, cross all your T's when it comes to that. So it's kind of definitely a time consuming portion as well. But
So, in what way can anyone listening, or even the baton twirling world, how can they help you guys or support you guys?
Oh gosh, I mean, really, by coming on this show, I truly just want to support others because we have been so blessed, and I don't use that lightly because what a journey this has been for this group and our students. And I mean, I think we've taught thousands of kids over these years. Mm-hmm. And so really, we would need anything from the baton twirling community, but I certainly want to do what we can to help because this sport is so near and dear to me and to my family and to everything. I mean, I look at where it's taken us. My sister twirled at Miss America. I twirled on a game show at, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I twirled on the game show. And, my brother Bobby was twirling, and he was a motivational speaker. And so really, twirling has taken us just to heights that I never dreamed possible, which is what I want for my own daughter. Mm-hmm. So I just want to help other teams try to grow. We need the sport to thrive. I mean, it just has to, mm-hmm. because it's so important. And I don't think people realize, how important our sport is and how unique it is, how beautiful it is, how much athleticism it requires, So I just want it to thrive no matter what. And so whatever we can do to help others learn how to grow their team, help others learn how to keep their students engaged. I mean, we try very hard to keep everybody happy, maybe to a fault at some points, but, we don't have auditions really, other than a few select teams that we're trying to qualify for, say, a world championships. We do have auditions, but if kids want to go to nationals, we pretty much say, sure, if you're willing to put in the summer hours. And we don't need anything. We just really want to help other teams, other coaches, other people, other moms that want to get their daughters involved. I just want to be the biggest advocate and cheerleader for twirling, because that's just really the most important thing, is to get people in the sport.
So if anybody is in Nebraska or they just mm-hmm. want to find you guys, what's the best way to locate you, find you online,
yes,
social media?
We do have a website. It's just stepperettestudios.com. We have a Facebook page. We love new students. We just, every year we just bring in kids and they come. And so, yes, in Nebraska especially, and surrounding areas, we do have kids coming in from Iowa and even a couple from Missouri. So,
wow.
We would love to introduce you to our studio, our new facility, which we are so proud of it. That was labor of love for sure, because for 20 years we rented a studio, but this past year we now do own the building, and that's a whole nother adventure. So, yes, we want people to come and enjoy our studio. We have about 30 teachers that work for us. It's just a family. It's definitely a family. All of our teachers are alumni of our program and or still part of it. So, we would love to have people come and be a part of our studio.
What do you think people should know about baton twirling?
I just think that people need to keep pushing to get twirling out in the forefront of their communities, because, we can't let the sport fade. I think that the sport is really not fading. I see growth at our nationals. I see growth in other areas, but it does take a lot of work on those of us that are willing to put forth the effort, the grassroots, movement to keep it going. So, I just want to encourage everybody to keep pushing, keep working, keep showing everyone how awesome twirling is, because it's so fun to watch. It's like dancing, gymnastics, and baton and juggling, like all in one. Like, who wouldn't want to see that?
Yeah.
So I think people just got to keep getting it out there, because when obviously, like, social media someone like Savannah Miller has millions of views, and there's a reason for that, because people think it's awesome, so I think what you're doing is so great. So thank you so much for getting this podcast going.
Yeah, I love it. I tell people too, I'm like, you don't understand how big of a nerd I am for baton twirling.
Yeah,
like, it's my life.
I am too. I'm a huge baton nerd.
Yes.
I like to read the history. I like to know. I just, it's my whole, I love it. So I just wanted to stay as positive as it has been for me, for my own children. And of course the children, all these young kids that walk in the door at the studio, these 3-year-olds, I'm like, oh, what their future could hold.
Yes.
So it's just, that's what's exciting. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on with me. This is like a dream come true talking to you guys on this podcast.
No. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again for listening to the Baton Twirling Project podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to be the first notified of future episodes so you can stay up to date with baton twirling news. Make sure to leave us a positive review on iTunes to help us reach more and more people about baton twirling. If you'd like more information about baton twirling in your local area, email us at batontwirlingpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for listening and being here. It means so much to baton twirlers everywhere. We'll catch you next time.